see I've taken the GPU off. It was getting in the way a little bit, and I have read a little ways into the owner's manual. I will be needing the circle. This is a back plate. Right now what I need to do is I need to take this front off, because as I said before, this is for if we are using a regular cooling system, but we are fancy and we don't need that not cool looking system. We need the cool looking stuff. So I'm just going to set that off to the side. Do not throw that away, because if in the future the all-in-one cooling system breaks, but you still want to use your computer, you still have the one that came with the CPU. It is not bad, it is just not as good as what we have. Okay? So, according to our instructions on the owner's manual, what we need to do is we need to take this plastic piece, which is called the standoff sleeve. Let me double check the orientation of these. From the front, install the sleeves, followed by the part. Now, make that one fit? It does. Oops. Be careful. How does it expect us to do this? I'm curious. With this way facing up, does it expect these to go through the top or through the bottom? Interesting. They do not provide great details for this. Oh no, those fit. So we can go that way. Good to know. There we are. Perfect. So the more coarse threaded side, which is also a little longer, I will in a second grab one of these to help show you, is what we needed. Oopsie daisy. Now, again, we're not He-Man, we're not trying to crush this thing in there and make it never come out, because we might need it to come out so we can swap out the CPU if we buy a better one, or if our CPU breaks and we need a new one, we want to be able to remove it. Okay. So let me quick bring this up in front of the camera and I'll show you some of the differences. So, as we can see here, hard to tell, but you can kind of see there's some grooves near where my thumb is. Now it's at the top. Oh, come now. Hey, focus on the back of my hand. There we go. So you can kind of see there's some ridges. Those are supposed to face up. Now, on this, you can see the more coarse threaded here and the more fine threaded here. We do not need the fine threaded in this case, we need the coarse threaded. So let's focus back on the desk. There we are. And we'll put this last one in. Now, because we're using a Ryzen, we can either use the back plate that it comes with, or we can use the one that was already installed here. I think this one looks fine. I'm not going to install the circle one. It's okay. Now, that is me assuming that that is a back plate. I should go double check. What did they call it? They did not call it a back plate, so that is not what that is for. So yes, we did do it the right way. All right. So next, what we need is the cooler itself. So let's unpack this. So there is a sleeve around it. We'll throw that away later. There's a plastic cover here. I'm going to leave that on for right now. Okay, I'm going to quick inspect the radiator. There's one bent fin, which is not terrible and not unexpected of such a long cooler. There's two bent ones, but neither of them are huge. Okay, so I'm going to take this off. There is a gray circle on there. Don't touch it. Don't do it. It's not ice cream. Don't lick it. It's not glue either. Don't lick it. This is our thermal paste. Now, if you want to use your own thermal paste, you bought your own and you want to use it, go ahead. Sure, whatever. I'm going to just stick with what we've got here. Now, come on. There we are. So, simple way to remove it, you press down and you twist in this case for this one, and that comes off. That is for the Intel. Here is for the Ryzen. Now, we do want to make sure that we have it facing the way we would like. Because if we want our cooler to face this way, with that going out the top, that should be good. Where is that? Yes, at the top. Good. We want that at the top. Then we would like these to face like this in the end. Okay. Just press down and it twists one direction only. Good to know, so you don't over twist it. There we are. Okay, so I've got this installed, so now I can screw it down onto here. Now, of course, I'm going to finish reading through here and see what it talks about. This is its default position. Good, the one we wanted was the default position. So we could change it because there's lettering on here, so it matters. Okay, those over here. Yes, they're in this bag. I just don't need all of the things in here. I'm going to gently set this down and make sure the thermal paste isn't getting anywhere. I do need some of the parts out of here, not all, just some. No, I don't want you. Yes, no. Last one, there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these back. These are for Intel. We do not need Intel. Is this also for Intel? We just have a lot of extra Intel parts. I am not a fan of Intel. I guess I am in the minority though. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate this so that it is the way we would like, because what's going to happen is these are going to go towards the front of our PC. Actually, we do want it like this because we want this direction. So I'm going to quick rotate this. Good thing I checked on that before we went through all the trouble. So this is how I want it? No. Close. That is how I would like it. And that is going to be towards the bottom. And we'll rotate that way, and this will be like this. Good. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to gently set this over here. I'm going to set this on our standoffs. Now, I'm pressing down evenly across all of them. Now, this part's very easy to mess up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to very, very briefly get each one started. And the reason I'm not going to crank them all down is because we are going to tighten this the same way that you tighten a tire. Now, as I'm sure some of you know, you can't just tighten a tire any direction. If you're taking a tire off and putting a new one back on, you have to do it in a special way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the back right until it starts to touch our bracket. Oh, there we are. Now I'm going to go to the opposite corner and do the exact same thing. I'm not going down until it's starting to put pressure down, just until I start to feel resistance. And then I can go with either of the other two. I'll go with the one closer to you. I'm going to do the same thing, just enough so that it's touching, so that I feel resistance, so I know it's doing something. There we are. Then rotate this way and do the exact same thing again. Up, feel resistance. Going back to the top, I'm going to do half turn, half turn, half turn, half turn. Okay? Back up. Same thing. I'm going to keep doing this until I cannot tighten it by hand anymore. There are some screwdriver slots for me to use. So I'm going to take my Phillips. I'm not going to twist far. I'm going to give it a good quarter to half turn. Now the reason I'm doing that is so that I do not over tighten. I don't want to crush the CPU, but I do want to make sure that that thermal paste, can I set you down? Good. I want to make sure that that thermal paste is evenly spread out all across the surface of the CPU. Now, the reason that, let me quick double check. Okay, good. We're fine on the what to do of the manual for now. The reason I want that thermal paste evenly spread out is because the thermal paste is what's helping conduct the heat. It's taking the heat out of the CPU and putting it into the cooler. If we just put this down on top of the CPU, it's not making full contact. If you look at a very close version of the thing, if you took a microscope and you looked at the side, it's very bumpy. It's not a perfectly flat object. It might feel like it to us, but it's not. If we zoom in really close, it's not. So that thermal paste helps fill in that gap, so that it helps pull the heat out even better. And that's why we use thermal paste. Now, I'm going to leave this sticker on there until the build is almost done, and I'm going to peel it off, and it's going to be extremely satisfying. That is the best part of building a PC, is any of those stickers that aren't like glued on, but it's just on there perfectly, and you just peel it off. It's just on there statically. Oh, the best part of the build, I swear. So I'm going to quick clean up a bit, because I have quite a few things around that are trash. This I'm keeping, this I'm not. I checked inside, yep. Good. That I'm keeping. This I'm going to keep just to put that back into. Extra bits and bobs. Okay. Looking good. Over here, we have some other components. These are going to be our fan plugins, or our pump plugins in this case as well. So, there we are. We have a lot of plugins. Great reason to look at the owner's manual. What I am guessing these are for, let's say in and out, are for the fans to plug into each other, because otherwise they wouldn't all spin at the same time. They wouldn't be the same colors. It would be ugly and not good. So I'm assuming that's what these three are, because they are all labeled in and out. I'm guessing this is for our pump because it has the same plug as our pump does. And I'm assuming this is our way of communicating to the screen on the pump to say, here's what colors we would like, or here's what image I would like on the front. Since this is a screen, it is not a regular component. So let me quick open this up and we will check. Powering the fans, not what we want. Connecting the pump. Not quite, there we are. Connecting the USB cable. Connect the micro USB cable from the pump to an available USB 2.0 internal connector. Okay, so I have to find one of those. Now, we could look it up or we could just look around. So let's see if it's labeled very simply USB 2.0 connector. I'm looking around. Pump fan, CPU fan. That's going to be for that other cable we need. CPU power. I'm not seeing one off the bat. HDMI, system fan. I might have found them. Hard part is they're on the opposite side of the board. I'm hoping, yes, that looks to be the case. Oh. Nope, wrong one. So I'm looking, there are a bunch of pins here that have, oh, I might have found one. Let's see if it fits. Nope. So there are a total of 9 pins, or not 9, there are a total of 10 pins. And of the 10 slots, 1 is missing for them. That helps us distinguish that we're not plugging into the wrong thing. So this one says JAUD1. I will quick grab the camera and show you that. All right. So if we look right there and see the 10 pins and the one right there is missing. Now, if we scroll over here and we find our USB, which you can see it says USB on there, then the 9 and 10 is missing on both of these. And that is what is missing on our cable as well. So you can see the filled in slot. Okay, I'm gonna quick set this back up. I'm gonna see how both of those look, and if both of them look really bad, I'm gonna find another. Okay. So I'm thinking the one farther to the right would look better in this case. All right, that is the missing slot. Okay, plugged in. What would look better? Under here would look better. And then over this. Okay, that's plugged in. Now, while this is out and about, I'm sure it'll look better in the full system. Otherwise, I will keep looking to see if I have another one. I don't think I do, though. I think that is all of them. Well, if it is, it is. It will not look too bad once it's actually in there. That wouldn't make it look any better, neither would that one. All right, so let's go ahead, look back, see what else we need to put in. We need to put in the power for the pump. So, connecting to the pump. One of these cables, there's a bunch of them attached together. There we are. Okay, so this is our central line. Okay, so first off, let's look here. So 3 of these. There they are. These are what's going to power the fans, because all 3 fans need to plug in to all three of these. Now, do these slot together at all? Does not look like it. So these will just be hanging out in the back of the computer. So they'll plug in the front and then they'll go up the back side. I believe this 3-pin connector, yes, 3-pin connector gets connected to the 4-pin of the CPU fan, which is at the top. Perfect. Okay, this will then plug into the actual, maybe this one gets plugged into the power, that's our SATA. There's a 4-pin connector of some kind. Making sure we didn't miss anything. Nope, we're good. That's easy enough. Easy enough. Powering the fans, connecting that. The SATA is what plugs into the power supply. This here is what gets plugged into the pump itself. It's a little bit of a tight squeeze. Might need to uninstall and reinstall the RAM, which is not a big deal. I'll have to pull this out. Come now. You're open. You're always open. There we are. Take you to the side. Let's get this plugged in. There we are. And now we can plug our RAM back in. Heard 2 clicks, we're good to go there. Okay, so these 3, are going to plug into our extra fans. This one's going to plug into our power. I'm not sure what this one does yet. There it is. This is for our RGB lighting control. I believe. No. Which it might be a separate accessory that I need to buy, it's saying on there, which I will have to go do, of course. Let's see, I do not see any slots that look like this would slot into. So for now, it's gonna be out, and we're not gonna do anything with it. Okay. All right, so that is it for our cables for now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start working on getting our fans attached here. All right. So as you can see, here is our cable. Now, don't throw these twist ties away. We might need them later to help hide other cables. Okay. Untwist you. There we are, looking nice and pretty. Now, the important part here, let's connect this in. There's where the short cable goes. And this will then plug into the next fan.
Here's what I found.
No, thank you, Afterwash. I don't need to know anything from you. Now, here they are. We have a container. I'm gonna use a separate container from earlier. Yes, this one has holes in it, but it will work just fine for what we're needing. There we go. We're going to put all of our screws in here so that we can make sure we have the right ones. Now, I'm gonna go double check how it would like us to attach all the fans together. Very terrible picture, just gonna say that right away. Ah, I see. I see. Okay, long screw with a washer. That'll come down. Set it aside. Long screw with a washer. We're going to need 4 of these for each fan that is getting attached to our system. So there's 2, getting 3. Come on now. There we are. 3. Working on 4. Okay, so we have all 4 of these. Now, these are going to go into the holes on the end, and this is going to slot down into our seat or into our radiator. Okay, might as well get the other 2 out, and I can plug them all in together. Again, I don't need that yet. Let's grab this and get it done as well. Now, there are going to be other fans in the case. For instance, the graphics card has its own fan on there. And also, the case itself comes with 2 fans. In this case, it came with 2 fans. One for the front, one for the back. We're not going to use that one in the front because we're going to put this one in the front. Okay. Ah, I see. So it's better to have this facing down rather than left and right. Now, where's the first one? There. Ah, got one started. And then this one's going to go next to it. And the cable will then slot in side by side. I'll do that after I get them all in. Okay, so I'm going to stand up. I'm going to go to the other side of the table with my screwdriver and get these done. Now, it is kind of hard to see the slot through the top. So it's going to be mostly a feel it out and hope that it is working. You should have it drop farther in, and then that means you got it there. Okay. Again, you're not He-Man. Don't try to break it by tightening it down as hard as you can. But do make sure that it is in there snugly, because last thing you want to do is have this just fall out. Okay. I got one for the next one. I already grabbed an extra washer, so I'm not going to put it down because they're too hard to pick up. I'm just going to do opposite corners here. Now, I don't think I've gotten it in yet. Have I? There we are. Feeling resistance, so that means we got it. There we are. 2 more long screws, along with, we got 1 washer this time. I have to go back for another. Oh well. Somebody play the world's smallest violin for me. Such a first world problem. Mr. Dayton, you might have to explain that joke to them. I don't think they got it. Maybe 1 or 2 of them laughed, but I think you have to explain it to them. All right. Next 2 are prepared. Let's get the last 2 prepared as well. Might as well get them done while I'm over here. Last one. There we are. Okay. So, got all the long screws ready. Let's get this here plugged in. There we are. Okay, where'd my other fan go? Oh, it's all the way over here. All right, so let's move this cable out of our way temporarily. All right. I hope I'm not starting to get close to our time. Unfortunately, I believe I am fairly soon. So this might have to turn into a two-parter, folks. All right. So we got all the fans in. Where did my other, there it is, my other in and out cable. Oops, that's upside down. There we are. Then my longer in cable, we'll put, for now, I'm just gonna put it on this one. I'm gonna leave the cable on it just because I'm not 100% sure which side I would like it in the end. It might go here, it might go there. I'm not sure. It depends on how everything fits together once we have that RGB controller. Because this, I don't believe, unless it does, oh, maybe that does slot in with here. Oh, would you look at that? We figured it out. No, we didn't. Never mind. Gosh darn it. Oh, well. It almost fit. Oh no, we did. What is this pin for? Oh, this is something completely different. I wasn't even trying to touch that. So this is the part to control the, come on. This is the part to control the RGB, I believe. Yes, that fit together perfect. Now, what I have not connected yet, that is the wrong part. What I have not connected yet is the power for each fan. So I'm gonna start with the one closest to me. Get untangled, please. I'm going to put that one, so that will be here. Why? Because I grabbed it first, I don't know. This one, again, I'm going to try to untangle it because it's kind of twisted around itself. So I'm gonna try to straighten it out a little bit just to make it look pretty. Okay, that can fit in here. And then our last, oops, that needs to go back in, but we can do that in a second. Our last cable needs to fit in here. So this is going to be what's powering each fan. Now, once it's in the case, what I'm gonna do is wire management. I'm going to use these or zip ties or something else to hold the wires together and keep them out of the way so they're not just flopping around in there. But that'll be once the case is on. Similarly to how I need this to actually be in here. And I keep putting it upside down. It needs to stay in there, and that's going to be doing the colors for everything. Okay? Now, we might need an RGB controller in the future. I'll have to look into whether I need that or not. Some motherboards might have it built in. I did not look into that because I didn't think of that. Otherwise, we would need to buy one and install it, not on here, but on the back of the case where nobody will see it, and just plug everything into it so that we don't have to go through all that. Now, some of these cables I'm gonna have to undo and redo because it's gonna go into the back of the case and plug in back there so that it's out of the way and we don't have to worry about looking at it. I'm gonna leave these for right now just because I wanted to make sure everything fit together. I could boot this up right now. I'm not going to because I don't have the power supply altogether and because I don't want to mess up and have something explode, because the way that you turn it on without plugging it into the case is you use a screwdriver and you hot wire it. I'm not doing that because I don't want to waste my money. Okay, so we've got almost all the important stuff. I'm going to clear a spot back here to move some of our stuff from up here. That way, hopefully I don't need any more of these for stickers. I can start plugging in the motherboard to our case. Okay, there we are. Awesome. We have most of our things stayed in. Didn't drop any on the way over. We're good. We're doing great. Keeping our other M.2 screws in case we need them. Hopefully we don't for a while. Oh, will you look at that? A cable tie I forgot to leave with the others. Okay, so unfortunately I'm gonna have to move the camera for a second because the box that you guys were resting on, oh goodness, has the case in it. Here we go. You guys were on top of that. So I'm going to quick move this box around, and then we should be good to go there. Okay, here we are. Just a bit of a different angle. Hopefully it still works. Okay, I'm going to shift slightly this way. And now we can start getting the case out of the box. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on its side. Slight lift. So I can grab onto it better. Move it all the way. Oh no, I dropped our owner's manual. This one, unlike our air CPU cooler, is very, very thick. That's because it also has a bunch of languages in it. It is not a specifically English one. Now, quick question for myself is which side's the top? That answers that question. So let's take the bottom off first. We don't need the styrofoam. There we are. Take this off, and that means the front is facing up right now, which is lovely. Which means that Mr. Watts gets to see the inside of it first. Oh, lovely. Can't wait. Okay, so this is called a mid-tower. That means it is not the biggest ones they make. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm taking the glass case off. Now, I'm taking it off because we need inside of it. Did I miss something? No, I did not. Okay, so that is fairly easy. I'm gonna go ahead and set this off to the side. I don't know if you can even see that. There we are. I'm going to put the screws that were used to hold it in back so I don't drop them and lose them. The other one went underneath somewhere. There we are. Perfect. I'm also going to take the back off for the same reason we're going to need back here. Okay, here we are. There we go. Perfect. Again, I'm going to set this off to the side where you can't see while I put this together. So, right here, you can see there's a bunch of cables already. We haven't done anything yet. So, what are those cables? Any thoughts? Go ahead and say them out loud right now while I readjust everything. That's right. I can't hear you. So what these cables are is, hey, these are probably going to be used for you. So right here we have a cable. This is for a fan that's already installed. These cables down here are just tucked away. So some of them we have to use. So there's a power button on top to turn on the computer. We have to plug that in or we can't turn the computer on. There are a couple that we aren't gonna use 100% sure though. I'm sure there's a SATA cable, maybe not. There's a bunch of different ones that we probably will need. Down here, what we have in this little case, come on, give me the cardboard box. Give me the box. Give me the, come on. Thank you. What we have here is a box for if we are using the old school hard drives. And would you look at that? Some nice extras of those. These are great for cable management. Lovely to see. And here are a bunch of zip ties too. Wonderful. So make sure you look inside all your nooks and crannies. So this here is for if we're using an old school hard drive. It is not going to be used by us. So we have 3 options here. Number 1, we dropped that. Number 1, we can get a hard drive to put in there. No, for this case, no, we're not going to. That's more expensive first off. Second off, it's slow, we don't need it, it's just extra work. Our second option is we leave it alone and leave it where it is. It's not hurting anyone. Our third option is we tear it out because it's ugly. We're gonna go with option number 2 for now. We might go with option 3 later if it poses an actual reason that we need to remove it. It doesn't look too difficult to remove. There are just a couple of thumb screws there. These here, same thing. For the 2.5-inch drives that are the size of a credit card, they get mounted here and then plugged in and then they go to the motherboard. But plugging directly into the motherboard with the M.2 is much faster, much better in our case. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and tuck these back in here. I'm going to grab our last component. Oh, come on, get in there. I'm going to grab the last component that we have not yet looked at, that being our power supply. All right, so we bought a modular power supply. Who remembers what that means? Go ahead and raise your hands, talk about it, figure out what it means. I'm waiting. Oh, would you look at that? We also got some more zip ties for cable management. That is lovely. And another owner's manual. Important information. I'm sure it is. We'll read it later. Has anybody been able to guess what modular means? Or who actually remembers? If you got it, good job. Proud of you. But I'm going to go ahead and say it anyways, just to double check in case you guys didn't get it. So modular means we do not need all of the parts, so it will not put all of the parts in. We can take out what we do not want. So here is our power supply. Now there's a fan down here. We want the fan to be facing down because there's a little grate down here that lets us pull fresh air in to cool off our power supply. Now, we do have to screw it in. So we're going to be flipping our case onto its back just so that I can reach down here and get our screws. Now, could we just set it in there? Yes, it's not going anywhere. It's not gonna fly away. And actually, I don't see There it is, actually. I lied. No? Huh, interesting. This case does not want you to mount your power supply. Well, that's a first for me. But I will do as the case is implying. Now, right. How about there? Perfect. Okay, so if we do look at this side of the case, there are screws to mount it here so it doesn't slide in farther, because that is a real worry. Now, the case sent us the screws for that in this bag. We might have to look for them a bit. Nope. Nope. Yeah, nope. No. No. I'll remove all the zip ties. That might help figure out some of our area. No, too many for that. And maybe it is one of those of the when I had too many. I will have to consult the owner's manual. I'm gonna go ahead and go with this owner's manual, not the power supply. All right, where's English? There we are. Motherboard standoffs, great. Washers, Velcro straps, cable ties, thumb screws, flat screws, short, HDD screws, short, and SSD screws. Well, we don't need either of the other two. So let's see how it suggests to put in a power supply. Oh, that can move. Wonderful. It does not tell me. Unfortunate. Oh, yes it does. It wants me to use thumb screws. Interesting. It gave me 4 slots to use 2 screws on. I'm going to go with opposite corners. I'm going to go with the bottom right. And the top left. Now, again, the power supply is not going to run away. So I understand that they're using 2 because it saves money on themselves. Because then that's not going anywhere. You could tighten a little bit more, possibly. But it's not a big deal. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and throw these away. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to lay this on its back. I'm going to put this back in. This is just a little air filter. Did I put it in the wrong way? I think I did. Yes, there it goes. This is just a little filter to keep the dust out because we don't want dust to enter our power supply unit. Yes, that is how it's supposed to fit. Even better. So, if we look inside of here, first off, we're going to have to remove one of these fans because it is in the way of where we are putting our large radiator. So we're putting the radiator up front where that is. So we need to remove that fan, which means we have to go to the other side and pull the front off. Not too hard, but just something we have to do. We are probably going to move that fan up to the top because there are slots for it there and up here for it to fit. Now, while looking down in here, this is where the motherboard is going to go. It is going to go all the way to the bottom, and there are standoffs here, here, up here. These are poking out. It's hard to tell. Tell a little bit more right here. Right there, you can see one better. And those are there so that we can attach the motherboard without grounding the motherboard to anything. There are special spots on the motherboard, such as right here. You can kind of see it almost looks like a star or a sun. And those are all around our board. Now, do each of them need to be screwed in perfectly? No. But majority of them should be. So, back to where we were. This is going to be a little bit longer of a video than I was expecting, which is good. So, the front, perfect. Hinges, I love it. Okay, oops, that came off. And there is a little filter, again, keep dust out, because dust is bad for a computer. Okay, so I'm gonna take my red-handled screwdriver. I'm gonna take it off. Now, it appears to be a magnetic filter on the top that just rests on there. So it should be even easier to take off. There we are. Drop the screw. Luckily, it didn't go very far. So, I am going to take this and reposition it later. The hard part is, I want to know which way it is spinning before I go, and I always forget. I believe this side spins, not the other way, but it spins this way, meaning that this is the intake and the out is going there. So I would like to position this at the top so that the air is flowing out. Oh, it does say, huzzah! Awesome. It has a little arrow on it. I didn't notice that before. So yes, I was correct. It is an out fan. So is the one in the back. That is wonderful because that means we have even less to take apart. So the reason I like that this is an out fan is because I don't want to, there we are, I don't want to be bringing in all of the air. I want to have some of the air escape because the graphics card is going to be producing heat and it is going to need a fan as well. Well, if I don't have a fan for the graphics card to take air from, then all the air coming into the computer is going to be hot air. We don't want hot air. So, and we'll have to double check which way the CPU cooler fans are, because if they are all outflowing, which they could be, I'm not sure, then I need to make sure that both of these are inflowing air. I need intakes rather than outs. You don't want everything to be the same, because if you have all in air and all out air, either way, you're creating either positive or negative pressure, which will either suck in a bunch of dust because you're sucking in a bunch of air, or because you have all the fans flowing out, it's going to create a negative airspace and it's going to suck dust in from places without filters. Okay, I'm just getting this fan in. I'm not making it perfectly positioned. It's going to be fine wherever it is. There we are. And now we can also plug it in later. So you are going to have a cable going out. You'll be going out later. I should have repositioned that. Oh well, not a big deal. All right, looking good. Okay. So I am going to unplug some of my cables here from the CPU cooler because I would like, come on now. Come now, out. All the cables are getting in the way, that's my issue. Okay, ma'am. Need you to come out, bud. There we are. Never mind, you can stay in. Okay, sounds good. Now, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna carefully, and also have to unplug this here, and all of these from here. I just want this cable to be alone, good. That way, I can move both of these into position in a minute. Good, okay? Now, what I do need to find, I have my standoffs. I need to get all of my screws to get the standoffs held down. Now, that should be these, if I'm not mistaken. Because, or how many are these? How many, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, those are for the SSD, so I don't need those. What screws do I need for this? Where are those screws? I'm sure those are for something else. Those are for something else. Those are for the other thing. Fairly certain that these are it. There we are. Take one, test to make sure it slots in. It does. Does it fit here? It does. Therefore, I'm calling it good. We're gonna use these. Okay, now while I'm doing this, I'm going to move that. We're gonna rotate this way so that that goes towards the front. That can't go towards the bottom. That needs to be the top because the power supply, oh, unless this comes off. Ooh, that comes off. Magnificent. Now, might need to put this back. We'll see how it looks. Up we go. 1 and 2 and 3. Take all of our wires up. Over. Yes, this is gonna have to go towards the top. Do I like how this looks? That is the question I'm asking myself right now. Do I like this in appearance? It is not necessarily bad, but would I prefer it at the top? I'm going to say yes, I would. So we're going to redo some of this. I know, the video's long enough already, but too bad. We're doing it anyways. Okay, so I'm going to undo this fan that we just put up here. And we're going to just leave it to the side for now. We are going to have to take the CPU cooler off, readjust, and go back down. Now, when you do that, you're supposed to add more thermal paste. I don't have any more. Is it gonna be the end of the world? No, it's gonna work. It's just not gonna be peak efficiency. And if it wasn't such a long time to get more, it would be a couple of days before I could get more, then I would. But I do not have a couple of days. I have today. So we're gonna take this out quick. We can even leave that in there. We find a good position for this to sit in, that is. There, that actually isn't bad. Then, you can loosen these. Same reason that you don't want to tighten them all down on one side. You don't want to loosen them from one side all the way. You want to loosen each corner a little bit. Otherwise it could, I dropped my screwdriver in there. Otherwise it could strip out the screws and give us a bigger issue. It's far enough, I think. Yes, that one's fully loosened. This one is now fully loosened, and fully loosened. Boy, guys, I tell you what, my back is starting to hurt. You guys have been here for multiple days. This is all one day for me. It is not the easiest job to build one of these puppies. Oops, loosen that one a little too much. There we are. There we are. There's that one. And last but not least, this one. Now, I'm going to take it off. I'm going to press down, rotate, fix it. Oops. Let's go the other way. So we'll need to go there, I believe. Yes, but that has to be towards the top. Ah. Nope, I was right the first time. Oh well, you live, you learn, you laugh, you love. I know, I'm hilarious. Now, this is the correct direction. That has to go this way. Yes. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get this mounted again. I know I'm blocking the camera a bit. I'm very sorry. I'll get out of your way in a minute. I just got to get this started. So I don't want this to come undone while I'm not holding it. Right now I'm holding it down. It's staying where it's supposed to, but if I stop holding it, it'll fly away to a magical world that is named Cotton Candy Land. No, Kai, you cannot go. All right. Come on, get started. Okay, starting to feel resistance, other corner. Starting to feel resistance, other corner. Oops, that slipped a little bit. Resistance, last corner. Switching hands. Resistance. Turn. 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 Corner. Corner. Come on, come on, come on, come on. And quick twist with the screwdriver and everything will be done. Well, not everything. This will be done. Oh goodness, I wish this could have waited until tomorrow. I want to get this video done for you guys so that you can watch it and be happy. Oh, my back. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to quick mount the radiator, which needs a small screw with a washer. It'll be on the top side. I know, I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to see from that angle. If I had somebody that could walk around and do all this for me, I would, but I don't have that person, so I can't. Oh, shoot. Come on now, washer. There you are with the screw go. Oh darn, I'm gonna have to find the screw. There it is. That wasn't as hard as I was thinking it would be. Okay, I'm gonna get a couple of screws ready quick, just because it is a very small thing. It takes a while to do. There, 3 should be enough for right. I need my other screwdriver, my smaller magnetic screwdriver, I believe. I could probably get away with the bigger one. Yeah, let's do the, we'll go with the smaller one to start because it's magnetic. Okay, like magic, it's floating off of one screw. Get the second one in there, take her down, third one, some random other place. There we are. We're making progress, guys. Okay. Now, I'm going to quick double check that this is still recording because it has been a long time. Ah, great, it still is. It's been a very long time. And last thing I need is to learn that for the last 20 minutes I've been talking to myself. But instead, I'm talking to you guys. There we are. Now, right now, this first part, or this second part, the first part was when I had to go get the isopropyl alcohol. I don't know how long that was. I think around 10 minutes, 9 minutes, something like that. The second part, so far, I'm at 1 hour and 8-9 minutes of recording, so this is definitely the second day of this video. I did not expect it to be this long, but I'm hoping you guys are enjoying it. Now, remember, there's going to be a short little quiz at the end just of like, hey, what did Mr. Watts do today? So that you guys are paying attention. Now, it's not a hard one. There's going to be simple questions, but they'll be easy if you pay attention. They're really hard if you're not paying attention because they're about the video. And no, I'm not going to post this to Google Classroom for you until I get back. Once I'm back, I will post it to Classroom so you guys can rewatch it as much as you would like. But for right now, I am going to be keeping the video just on this little YouTube station that you do not have access to. Because you have to have the link to watch the video, and you guys don't have the link. Don't worry, I will post it to Classroom. It'll be later though. It's not going to be before your quiz. Or worksheet? Whatever it is. Alright, this is all the way mounted. Great. Up we go, because my back's hurting. Woo! That hurt. So, I'm going to flip these around. The bigger fans, or not the bigger fan, the bigger screws. There we are. The reason why is because I can see the ugly side of them. I want those towards the back. Now, before I do that, can I do that? I can. So I will. Luckily, these screws are a lot easier to do. It'll be a bit more of a challenge with it in the case though. All right. Quick question for you guys. How long, roughly, do you think it is before you would need to replace components in a computer? How long does a computer last? I'm not talking school laptops. I'm talking about keeping a computer, desktop computer, actively up to date. How long do you guys think? Give it a thought. I will have to pause the video here quick.